I came home that evening worn out from a long, grueling shift. My fingers ached, my back was stiff, and mentally, I was running on empty. All I wanted was a warm meal, maybe a quiet evening with my wife, the kind of peace only home is supposed to bring. But as soon as I walked through the door, something felt wrong. The silence was too heavy. There was no familiar aroma drifting from the kitchen, no background music humming softly like usual. Just a faint flicker of the TV casting light across the living room, playing a show I didn't recognize. I stepped in and found her on the couch, legs tucked beneath her, expression unreadable. It was like she was a statue, blank, emotionless. She glanced up as I entered, but then turned her eyes back to the screen. No smile, no warmth. I asked her if everything was okay. She didn't respond right away. Then she grabbed the remote, muted the television, looked me directly in the eyes, and spoke words that shattered something inside me. "I'm going to start sleeping with other men," she said. At first, I thought I'd misheard. I even let out a nervous laugh. "Wait, what did you just say?" There was no humor in her face. No blink. No hesitation. "I'm going to be with other men," she repeated, slower this time, like she wanted each word to land with precision. My heart froze. I just stood there, trying to make sense of what I just heard. I asked if this was some kind of sick joke. Was she upset with me? Trying to provoke a reaction? Her face didn't change. She told me she had been thinking about it for months, that our relationship had become stale, that she craved the thrill of being pursued again, of stepping outside the lines that society draws around marriage. She insisted she still cared for me, but that wasn't enough anymore. She wanted more. More excitement, more experiences, more passion, more freedom. And then, as casually as someone might suggest ordering takeout from a new place, she said she didn't believe monogamy worked for her anymore. I had two choices, she said, accept it or walk away. Either way, she was going to do what felt right for her. I sat in stunned silence. I hadn't even noticed that my hands were trembling. Memories raced through my head. The tiny apartment we'd turned into our sanctuary. Nights under blankets, sharing laughter and late-night movies. The trips we saved for, the dreams whispered before sleep. And now, she was discarding all of it, not even throwing it away, just brushing it aside like it never mattered. I asked her how long she'd felt this way. "Several months," she said. Then I asked a question I was terrified to hear the answer to. Had she already been with someone? She paused and quietly admitted, "Yes, once, maybe twice." There was no remorse in her voice, no trace of guilt. She looked unburdened, like she had been waiting for this moment to speak her truth and finally live without pretending. I stood up without a word, took my keys, walked out the door. I had no idea where I was going, just that I needed to breathe. I drove around aimlessly for hours. Eventually, I pulled into a grocery store parking lot and just sat there. I wanted to scream. I felt humiliated, furious, crushed. But more than anything, I felt hollow. For the next few days, I crashed at a friend's place. I didn't tell anyone the real reason, just said we were working through some issues. In truth, I was too ashamed to explain that the woman I loved had looked me dead in the eye and said she wanted other men, and still expected me to stay. When I finally returned to gather my things, she didn't stop me. She didn't beg. She didn't cry. She stood in the kitchen with her arms crossed, watching like I was a passing stranger she barely recognized. I took only what was essential, left behind the rest, the furniture, the trinkets, the framed photos. I didn't want anything that belonged to that life. In the following weeks, mutual friends began reaching out. Some were stunned. A few had seen her out on dates, just days after I left. One mentioned she posted a story online, smiling with a new guy at dinner, only 3 days after I moved out. She didn't hide it. She celebrated it. At first, I crumbled. I'd break down randomly, during the night, in the shower, even mid-shift at work. I kept asking myself the same questions. Was I not enough? Was I too dull? Did I do something wrong? I searched for answers that wouldn't come. But deep down, I knew she had made her decision long before she said the words. I was just too blinded by love to see it. Time helped. I started going therapy, got back into the gym, picked up hobbies I'd abandoned after marriage, took solo trips, started journaling. Just one or two things I was grateful for each day, no matter how small. It grounded me, reminded me that I was still alive, that I had more ahead, that her betrayal didn't define me. Then, months later, she messaged me. Just a few words. I miss you. I stared at the screen for a while, then locked the phone and went on with my day. I didn't reply. There was nothing left to say, because by that point I had healed. I'd realized that real love doesn't demand that you shrink yourself. It doesn't require you to give up your dignity just to make someone else feel fulfilled. Real love honors you. It stays true. It respects boundaries. And that's what I deserve. I don't know where she is now. Maybe she's still chasing the high she thought she was missing. Maybe she regrets it. Maybe not. It no longer matters. I found peace. And that's something no one will ever take from me again.